Hello there, Dragonfire here, coming at you with another in my series of best albums of the year. Now we are up to 1982. We've done 80, we've done 81, we are up to 82. All right, 1982. And boy, I tell you, every time after I do um, one of these lists, I'm like, oh, I missed that album or that album. So there's maybe someday I will we go through these. I'm making a list of everything so that when I miss an album, I can come back to it later and whatnot. And you know, I might have to redo these videos eventually, but um, oh, I didn't have my headphones on there for a minute. Okay, so let's back up. I was saying that I might eventually decide to redo these videos when it's all said and done because I just found, oh, I missed this album, I missed that album. But that's, it's nice to explore year by year by like this so that I can see what I missed. Um, so first off, I want to start off with a couple honorable mentions um, as far as the year goes. Um, there's a couple of pop honorable mentions I want to mention here. Um, I I keep this list mostly rock, like classic rock and heavy metal. Um, but there is, uh, you know, I just felt like I had to mention these two pop acts. When I'm in the mood to listen to pop, I'll put this on, which is not very often. Most of the time, I stick mostly with classic uh, rock and roll and classic heavy metal from the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. That's really my genre. I'm really a classic rock guy. But for this list, as far as pop goes, I want to give an honorable mention to 1999 by Prince and Thriller by Michael Jackson. So Michael Jackson and Prince will get an honorable mention there. A couple other honorable mentions. Sammy Hagar actually put out two albums in 1981. Uh, Standing Hamptons and Three Lock Box. I thought that was worth an honorable mention. Uh, Judas Priest had an album called Screaming for Vengeance. Queen had an album called Hot Space. Bob Seger had an album called The Distance. All those will make my honorable mentions. But kicking off my top 10, I'm going to go through the first five rather quickly here, unlike in my other videos. But I'm giving my 10th place to Aerosmith's Rock in a Hard Place. I do like some 70s and early 80s Aerosmith, but I really feel like they hit their stride around the mid 80s. So I think some of their mid to late 80s albums are going to rank a lot higher for me. But number 10 uh, is Aerosmith for 1982's Rock in a Hard Place. Uh, Number 9 is going to be Billy Idol, his self-titled album. Number 8, YNT. They made my 81 list with their album Earthshaker, but their album Black Tiger is going to be my number 8 for 1982. Uh, Scorpions are on my list again. Uh, they made the list in 1980 with Animal Magnetism, but in 82 they put out Blackout. Great album from 1982 by the Scorpions. How about 19 or sorry, My number 6 is going to be One on One from Cheap Trick. Cheap Trick, a great band that I really, really enjoy. Um, so they get my nod for number 6. Now I went from my 10 through 6 rather quickly there. Let's get to my number 5. My number 5 is going to be Twisted Sisters Under the Blade. Okay, for Twisted Sisters Under the Blade, I'm going to recommend a few songs here. The title track, Under the Blade, which is the 7th track on the album. That's a good one. I also like Tear It Loose, which is track number 8. Um, really, the second half of this album, I think, is stronger than the first half of this album, so tracks 6 through 10. But there's still some good stuff on side 1, like track number 2, Bad Boys of Rock and Roll. So check out Twisted Sisters Under the Blade. I don't have a physical copy of the album, but I'll hold up Twisted Sisters' greatest hits here. So Twisted Sisters Under the Blade gets my number 5. All right, now let's look at my number 4 here, because I have Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers with Long After Dark. Long After Dark from Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. You can see the track list there. Here, I'll give you a good look at the track list there. I really recommend the song here. Same Old You is a pretty good one. We Stand a Chance. Straight into the Darkness. This is just a really good album. Probably the best known track on the album is You Got Lucky. I believe that one is on the greatest hits. So if you like Just Got Lucky, then check out the rest of this album from 1981. Or You Got Lucky. You Got Lucky. Check out the rest of the album. 1981, Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, Long After Dark. Okay. Now, for my pick for the number 3 album of 1982, I am bringing in, again, Van Halen. This is a streak for Van Halen. In 1980, I believe I had Women and Children First ranked in my top 5 for 1980, and then we had 1981 with Fair Warning. I made it into my top 10. I don't remember where I ranked it, but I think Women and Children First might have been either my number 2 or my number 3 for 1980. But my number 3 for 1982 is going to be Diver Down. Now, this is one where I am aware that there are a lot of people who think that Diver Down is one of the weaker albums, particularly even if you're a huge fan of the David Lee Roth years of Van Halen, the Van Roth, if you will, Van Roth version of Van Halen. Some people consider this one of the weaker tracks, but I sort of disagree. I love Big Bad Bill. One of my favorite songs is track number 10 on here. It's got um, a goofy side to it. And I like their cover of "Oh Pretty Woman." I like their cover of "Happy Trails." Um, and this is just a fun album to listen to from beginning to end. Um, I could probably do without the "Dancing in the Street" cover, but I probably like it better than the original "Dancing with the Street." I've just never, or "Dancing in the Street." I've never been a fan of that song, so I probably like Van Halen's version just a little bit better than the original, actually, but I'm still not a huge fan of the song itself. But other than that, this is a fun album. I really enjoy Diver Down. I know a lot of people consider it the weakest of the Roth years. I don't. I don't. I actually rank this one probably third or fourth in the David Lee Roth years and in Van Halen overall, to be honest, because I love the David Lee Roth years. I have nothing against Sammy Hagar. I love his solo work, but um, to me, nothing touches the David Lee Roth years when it comes to Van Halen. Okay, my number two. My number two is "Bad to the Bone" by George Thorogood and the Destroyers. This is the album that probably a lot of people consider his best album. I don't consider this his best, but I do think it is good enough to be the number two album for 1982. Um, I really, really like this album. I like everything that George Thorogood does. Basically, the deeper I've gone into his catalog, the more of his music I've listened to, the more I appreciate it and love it. Um, so this of course has "Bad to the Bone" on it. "Bad to the Bone," George Thorogood's "Bad to the Bone" is the name of the album, and uh, name of a song number where is it, number 6. Yes, so it kicks off side 2 of the album. um Back in the day when you had vinyls or cassette tapes, you had to flip them over from side 1 to side 2. So uh with 10 tracks on the album, track number 6 is most likely the beginning of side 2. Of course, I have the CD version here, but it's all one-sided. But uh yeah, I love me some George Thorogood. um uh "Back to Wentzville" is an underrated song from this album. So is "Want It Man." "Want It Man" is so good. Of course, "Bad to the Bone" is the song that everybody knows him for. It's his most famous song. You've heard it before in movies, like Terminator 2 or whatever, when Arnold Schwarzenegger walks out of the bar after he's stolen the biker's clothing and stuff like that. Um, uh, he "Bad to the Bone" plays as Arnold stepping out. Bad, bad, bad to the bone. I just love "Bad to the Bone." It is the song that got me interested in George Thorogood to begin with. It's the first song, like for many people, it's the first George Thorogood song I ever heard. Um, but he has more to offer than just that one song. Check out "Want It Man" to give you an idea between "Bad to the Bone" and "Want It Man." Uh, and "Back to Wentzville," like some of the songs that will give you an idea of what you can expect from his catalog. But just check out this album. This is my number two. Um, and um, really love me some George Thorogood and the Destroyers. Now, for my number one, what could possibly beat out "Bad to the Bone" for the number one album of 1982? Well, number one album of 1982, beating out "Bad to the Bone" by George Thorogood, right here, folks. Right here. This is Spinal Tap's album, Smell the Glove. Smell the Glove, folks. Smell the Glove, #1 album of 1982. Of course, in the original pressings, they didn't even have a barcode on the back. They found it was easier to sell the albums if they put a barcode on the back. But yes, this is Smell the Glove, 1982. Fantastic album here. You can see on the inside here they have um, upside down. I have some advertisements for some of Spinal Tap's other albums, such as Heavy Metal Memories, Rock and Roll Creation, The Sun Never Sweats, Intravenous de Milo, Brain Hammer, and Shark Sandwich. Of course, Shark Sandwich was my #1 for 1980. But so this is Spinal Tap's second #1 with Smell the Glove from 1982. Smell the Glove, 1982, my favorite album, the best album of 1982, Smell the Glove. All right, Dragonfire out.